At a rapid pace, traffic lights, matrix signs, vehicles, and many other objects become smarter with the aid of new technologies. But in order to make mobility really intelligent, more is needed. All the elements within the traffic system must communicate with each other, bi-directional, and in real time.
A warm welcome to this latest edition of the 4NewMobility Leadership Talk. Today, I'm extremely excited to have Menno Malta, founder and CEO of Monotch, as my guest. Monotch is providing a data exchange platform between infrastructure and road vehicles to make traffic safer, more fluent, and cleaner. Monotch, with its headquarters in the Netherlands, is globally recognized as one of the leaders in this field, and I feel most honored for having the privilege to have a conversation with its founder and CEO, Menno Malta. Good morning, Menno. I hope that you are doing well and you are as much excited about this discussion as I am.
Thank you, Herman, and good morning to you too. And yes, it's definitely a pleasure and privilege for me to be in your podcast.
No, thank you very much, Menno. And today's podcast is about your vision concerning connected mobility, how Monotch is transforming mobility services and traffic management for the future. And maybe as a starting point, what do you see as, with respect to Monotch, the current status in developing and commercializing your solution, and what are your services?
Yes, well, what are our services? That's the best question to start. And in short, I always say we make traffic talk. And the vision that we have is that of a mobility ecosystem where all the elements and all the actors in this ecosystem are continuously sharing information and communicating with each other, really to have a conversation. And our vision is that with an ecosystem like that in place, we can really make mobility smarter, which will lead to, as you said already, more efficient transport, safer transport, and also more sustainability in the mobility ecosystem. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here. And for this, we have developed the TLEX platform, so Traffic Life Exchange Platform is what it stands for. And it's really a data sharing layer that sits in the ecosystem between all these actors and all these elements. And it facilitates, for instance, field equipment, roadside equipment, to exchange information, to receive information, and also road users, fleets, individual vehicles, and then, of course, the systems from the road authority, so their traffic management platforms, their priority systems, their digital twins, etc., etc. This is really our mission, to realize this connected world, this connected ecosystem, and we are impatient. So we want not to see this happening in 10 years, but we want to have impact today, tomorrow, next month, next year with our deployments. So we found a way to really use the existing systems and communication networks to realize this vision.
Yeah. No, thank you very much, Menno, on these insights concerning what you are currently doing, and you hinted already on things you want to do in the future. But what is really the vision, behind your activities for the future of mobility?
Well, I think the reality is that there's pressure on the transport and mobility ecosystem. So I think we will not say that we will solve congestion or that we solve all problems of the mobility ecosystem. That's simply not possible. But we do believe that the mobility industry has not been the first industry to embrace digitalization. I think other industries and markets have done this before us. And we think there are still a lot of benefit of the digitalization that we can unlock together with our customers and our partners in this ecosystem. And therefore, it is not Monotch that will say to the market, like, you need to organize or manage your transport in way A or B, because that's not our competence. Our competence is really to sort of realize this foundation, this connectivity, to facilitate all this exchange of information. And then it's for the road authorities to have policies in place about, what kind of priority they want to give to certain traffic flows. And for that, they will use their traffic management environments, which are not our tools. We are the data sharing layer between all the other elements. So, but our vision is that we will empower authorities with the possibility to deploy policies in real time, to change their policies in real time, to inform road users in real time, but also vice versa. So we also see that road users can inform the systems around them about their plans, about their where they are right now, where they are going, and definitely in a privacy-proof way. Let me make that statement. And that's our vision. And then we think that will lead to the most optimal situation that is possible, given the amount of traffic and traveling that is happening.
I mean, you mentioned the term ecosystem. Can you shed a bit of light on who is part of your ecosystem? Which stakeholders are you serving with this data exchange platform?
Yeah, of course, and I think that's it's an important question, because it's very important to recognize that it's a multi-stakeholder ecosystem. So many times we speak to people that are active in the industry, and they think, and I understand that from their own position and from their own organization, but I don't think CITS will ever become a huge success if we keep on thinking like that. So it is important to recognize that there are multiple stakeholders, and of course the road authorities are a key stakeholder in the mobility ecosystem, as well as the road users. They are also a key stakeholder. But also the current ITS suppliers are a key player, a key stakeholder, and they have an interest in how this market develops. And then we have traffic management, we have the research community that is a stakeholder, we have the consultancy industry that is a stakeholder, and I think our platform serves all these different stakeholders. Road users benefit from this real-time information. It will allow them to travel more efficient, to have less accidents. Of course, that benefits also road authorities. They can roll out their policies, they can work more efficiently, reduce their costs also in the future. But also for the ITS suppliers, there's a lot to gain here, we think, by developing smarter solutions, more efficient solutions, maybe in a way also more profitable. So we really think that there are benefits for all the key stakeholders, and our platform is really designed to support all these different stakeholders. So if we talk about the data sharing layer, it's not just data exchange. It also includes quality control, for instance, and that quality control is a huge benefit for, in the end, car OEMs or their suppliers, or apps or other fleet management systems, for instance, that take information and bring it into the vehicles, because they now know that they can rely on this information, and there are all these mechanisms in place that manage the quality, that inform them if there's a problem. So also for them, this opens up possibilities to develop new solutions in a way. So and if you think about the suppliers, the research community, in the end, it's all about data, especially in the future. And what we do with our platform is that we exchange all this data. We make it available not for one use case. We say we break the silos with our platform. So let me give you an example of breaking the silos. We have, in the Netherlands, we have all the ambulances in the Netherlands connected to their IT supplier, and that connects to our TLX platform. So we are able to provide warnings to all the road users in the Netherlands about approaching ambulances. But because we have that connection, it's also very doable to request priority at all the connected traffic lights in this ecosystem. So this is a nice example of opening up data and then using it for different use cases. So that's and I know I can go on about this for a long time because I'm myself surprised about the use cases that are presented by us sometimes, just by opening up these data, making it available. And quite recently, I had a city here in the Netherlands approaching us saying, "Hey, we have all our ambulances connected, we have all these traffic lights connected, but now we also have smart street lighting here in this city. We would like to have the intensity of the light go up during the nights if an ambulance or an emergency vehicle is driving somewhere. So we can reduce the sirens maybe a little bit, and that takes away nuisance for the people in the streets and makes the ambulances even more visible and make their route safer. I never thought about this myself, but so a new use case. Yes, let's open up the data, connect it, do it in a scalable way, in a standardized way, and then we can copy this to all our other deployments.
I mean, you just mentioned now the term scaling, yeah? And I'm sure that scaling is one of your top priorities and one of the top issues for you also in the context of being commercially successful. And I think this is also a challenge for Europe. So my question is related to, first of all, are you, with respect to connectivity and the communication technology, are you agnostic with respect to short-range communication and cellular communication? And the second one is with respect to interoperability. Are we currently in a situation in Europe that interoperability is provided wherever you deploy your services, or is this still an issue where maybe there is a need also for support from the European Commission?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things to unpack in this question, but again, a very important issue. And first, your first part of your question, you mentioned short-range communication and network communication, and our platform, TLEX, can be used in both types of deployments. We have the most impact in networked deployments, V2N2X, we say, vehicle to network to everything. Because there we already have connected vehicles. There are all the cars that leave the factories today have cellular connectivity, and many people, almost everyone has a smartphone and Android car or Apple car. So there's so much we can do with that. So this is where we have the most impact today. But you can also use our platform, and it is also used in short range or hybrid deployments. So in the end, it's about the impact and not about the technology. So we're happy with all the deployments that we can be a part of course. In terms of interoperability, this is one thing that our platform really brings to authorities, that you have this interoperability, that you can connect to all your the equipment from all your different suppliers. So we support all these standards, but it's unfortunately not the situation today that every country in Europe uses the same standards. So from the past, all the different countries have been trying to develop the best standards and interfaces, but they have not always aligned with each other. So, if you look at traffic lights, for instance, the Netherlands has its standard interface. Germany, of course, the Nordic countries, and basically you can go over all the countries, and that's where you see that. Our work in the Netherlands has allowed us to work with most suppliers of field equipment, and we have developed with them a new standard that is really designed to exchange ITS data with low latencies using the cellular network. So where possible, we prefer that standard. It's called the CITS subject interface, And it's now governed by the Belgium and the Dutch authorities together. So it's really an open standard. And that's I would say that from a technology perspective, the best standard that is available today to do these deployments. But we also adapt to existing interfaces. So in Germany, we support outset. In the Nordics, we support RSMP as an example. So we have to adapt because, again, for everything that we do, the question is how can we have impact as fast as possible? And this means that we also need to support these existing systems and platforms and interfaces because otherwise it takes longer to have impact.
Yeah, I fully
really
agree.
An impact-driven company, and that's with every decision that we make. It's like, okay, will this delay impact or will it raise the impact? And then we go for that choice.
Yeah, I mean, you have to make the best out of an existing situation. Yeah, but I think the best for Europe would be if we have common interfaces and standards, etc., and we all how should I say, move on the same road. Yeah, I saw that also on your website. Yeah, that you're also engaging in some partnerships. Yeah, I saw one partnership, for instance, with a company who works in the field of smart city. Yeah, and I found this very interesting. Yeah? It was smart city and it was the digital twin approach. Yeah, I mean, is this something which is also important for your commercial roadmap? Yeah, do you see that these partnerships play an important role? Yeah, or how is your view on this topic?
Well, from day one, partnerships are really a key matter for us. So we're ecosystem thinkers by default because of the nature of our product already. So we continuously look for partners. We expand our partner network, and it's very diverse, the partnerships that we have. We have I would say, the well-known players in the ITS market amongst our partners. Mobile network operators, consultancy companies, but also application developers for certain markets, for instance, for fleet management or for public transport. Because we always stay away from developing these applications. We sort of create plug-and-play products that can be integrated or used in these markets, but we're not. As I said, we really keep to that data sharing layer, and we look for partners around that layer. So it's key from day one, and of course it took some time for the companies in the market to see, okay, is Monotch for real? Are they staying? And I think we're now really for a few years already we are seen as you say, as a company that has impact and that is there to stay. What is changing in our partnership approach is that we also proactively look to connect more fleets and develop sort of also business-to-business propositions in those markets. But again, always with partners, not by ourselves. So it's in our top 3 goals every year. Basically, like, okay, these are partnerships that we're hoping for, to trying to accomplish. It's a key element of our strategy.
And how important is for you the global market? I mean, I saw that you're also giving presentations in the US, yeah. But is it that you are now also actively aiming to extend your business to US, maybe to Asian countries, maybe to China? Is this part of your strategy?
Yes, definitely yes for the US. We're active there and developing the market, and actually we hope and expect to have our first deployments also in the US in 2025. Asia, not yet. When I say not yet, I mean that we don't develop that market proactively. We don't invest in it currently, such as we do in the US. but we're always open. And last year we also did a project, for instance, in New Zealand. So because of the nature of our product, it's very scalable. It's easy to deploy. We support many deployment environments. It can be on Azure, can be on Amazon, can be on a private cloud, can even be on premise with the proper installations. So from that perspective, it's all possible. Of course, we know that to become active in a market and not just have one project or one deployment, but to really realize scale, we need to invest in it. So therefore, we choose our markets, and today the key markets for us are Europe and the US. And we have a continuous expansion there. So this year our goal is to deploy in 3 new countries, for Monotch 3 new countries, and I'm quite confident that will happen indeed.
Oh, that sounds very exciting. If we look a bit more into the future, and I think it's not the far future, because autonomous driving is already here. Yeah, I mean, we see it in China, we see it in the US, and we see already that something also starts in Europe. Yeah, and I could imagine that this will have huge implications also for your business and provide enormous opportunities. Yeah, because now the situation is there is a data exchange, and building on this data exchange, there are services, but the services are most of the time for supporting the decision making of human beings. Yeah, be it someone in a traffic management center, be it someone behind the steering wheel. But in the future, there will be more and more automation. Yeah, there will be more automation concerning traffic management. There will be more automation concerning vehicles. And there will be more need for data and data exchange. I mean, is this also part of your vision, and are you preparing for it? Is it important for you?
Well, I think autonomous driving is a big change. Still difficult to assess when it really will happen on a large scale. So that's, of course, we see in the US the robot taxis and everything, and so it's impressive progress that is made. On the other hand, it's also a bit unclear when this technology will hit the road in Europe, and especially on which scale. And of course, we've seen last week that there's a big push now in Europe also for faster development of autonomous driving. But in the end, for us, more data is needed anyway, whether it's for humans or for support systems, because they are sort of, we have the levels in autonomous driving, so already for these support systems, there are more data is needed. So we don't really have to think about whether that's a question. We know that's for sure the reality, that data is key. And again, and I can't stress that enough, that the quality is key and the coverage of data, because data that you have from, let's say, one use case in a limited geographical area you can almost say is no data, because you cannot use it in a large-scale deployment. So that is definitely key. What we see as a huge game changer is AI, and because that will take away a lot of decision making also for our customers, the road authorities. It will allow them to do more with the existing teams, work more efficiently, but also more dynamically and more in real time. And that is something that is there today. And so there's a lot of focus on AI within our development team and our product roadmap, and that's from additional quality and security controls. Because, and maybe to give some perspective, today we exchange around 2 billion messages every 24 hours in our different deployments. And we never had a security breach, but we want to keep it like that. So all the time since we've done our first deployment, we've managed to keep it safe. But we are continuously thinking about, okay, what can someone do if he wants to do the wrong thing, maybe. And that can also be like injection of data into this ecosystem that is incorrect. And if you imagine that you exchange billions of messages, it's not so easy to detect these anomalies anymore. So that's the first use case for us for AI, to really improve our security and quality control mechanisms to be ready for the next phase where we will exchange 5 billion or 10 billion messages every day. And then we look at creating synthetic data, because it's an illusion to have 100% coverage in terms of connected vehicles in the next few years. But we know that if you have a certain percentage, 15, 20, 25, 30%, you can already gain a lot of information from that. So these are topics that we think that will offer great possibilities for the near future, and where good quality data is key. And so there's a lot of focus on that for sure.
So you see a big potential also concerning improvements, cybersecurity or security and data quality at all with respect to using AI technologies.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But also the synthetic data and decision making. And for us, we see this really happening on our platforms already. If you have all that data and it's there in near real time, the latencies that we see with cellular network are around 150 milliseconds. So it's faster than the eye blinks. So it's really, really real time. And with that information in these volumes and with the coverage that we see in our deployments, we think it becomes very possible that road authorities will have AI algorithms that they plug in on this data. And again, we break the silos, and we think the AI solution should not be in a silo again. No, they should be on top of the data that is available. So, I think it's something we will see happening in the next few years. Where autonomous driving, that we're also eager to see happening, but it will take a little bit more time to really have it on a larger scale in Europe.
And concerning your services, when you talk about security, I mean, are you also providing services which are absolutely safety critical? Yeah, I mean, for instance, that you provide data to a vehicle and the vehicle immediately has to stop. Are you also providing these type of services or not for the moment?
Not today. I mean, yes, in demonstrations and proof of concepts, yes, but not in our deployments, large-scale deployments. And so that we mentioned short-range communication. So for those use cases, short-range communication could be the better solution. On the other hand, most of our deployments are working with 4G networks, mobile networks, with 5G networks, and with the edge of the 5G network, which is also on our roadmap. We see latencies that are around 30 milliseconds, and then it's really becomes a challenge to come up with use cases that need a lower latency, because in the end it's not a goal in itself to get to the lowest latencies. Of course, it's about what do you need for a use case, and then first we step back to how can we have impact. So our focus is today much more on the use cases that we can implement on a large scale with significant impact than the great use cases that can be there for the future, because that's more still of an R&D nature. So that's sort of the explanation. Though our platform supports 5G and also the edge and these low latencies, today these use cases cannot be deployed on a large scale, because the vehicles or the pedestrians or the cyclists also don't have that kind of connectivity.
Mm.
I mean, yes, in a demonstration you can do that, but not tomorrow on the street. So if we want to make cycling safer, we look at what we can do today with apps, with maybe devices that are on the bike, and with the networks that are there today. So that's really how we look at these things.
I mean, I think now we come to the close of our conversation, and I would like to give you maybe an opportunity, and I don't know if there is something, but if now I would be from the European Commission, and you would have the opportunity now to ask me for something, which is very important for you to further succeed, and scale your solution. Is there something you would have to say to me? Is there something where you say, look, I mean, there we need the support by the European Commission, by the European Union, by the European member states?
Yes, I think, and of course we have our discussions in Europe with people from the European Commission or the staff there, and our ask would be mandate 2 to 3 use cases on a deployment scale. So don't mandate technology, but say, hey, we have, for instance, roadworks warnings or emergency vehicle approaching warnings, and mandate that these use cases have to be there in a certain number of years. And then leave it to the market and the authorities to realize it in the way they best see fit. Because the biggest concern that we have is that is the repeating of pilots and proof of concepts. And that takes away a lot of resources from the ITS market. And I realize it's a safe thing to do. You can always do a pilot. And a pilot can fail, and in a way that's still a success, because then you have proven that is not working. But we see pilots about the same topics over and over again. And we see significant amounts of money being spent on these pilot projects without any plans for real deployment. So, and that's not productive. And I dare to say that with the amount of funding that has been spent in these pilots, and let's say the higher level of TRL research projects, that we could have used all that funding in a much more efficient and productive way by deploying. So it's not just a call towards European Union, but this is also a call to authorities that okay, think hard before you do a pilot, and don't do pilots about roadworks warnings anymore. Don't do pilots about emergency vehicle approaching. I mean, all the day one use cases don't require pilots anymore. Choose 1 or 2 use cases and deploy them on a large scale, because then we break this, we close the circle, we break the chicken and egg situation, because if you do these deployments on a large scale, it becomes interesting for road users, meaning car OEMs, their suppliers, navigation companies, etc., etc. And that's what they are looking for: coverage and quality on a limited number of use cases.
Yeah, and when I look at the use cases which you had introduced at the beginning of our conversation, I mean, they are saving lives.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that could be a very, very good reason also for the European Union to establish some such mandates. Yeah, so I fully agree that this is a very useful discussion, an important discussion to have. Yeah, if it's not useful to have these mandates of some of the use cases. I mean, what would be the 3 use cases you have in mind? Yeah, where you say, look, I mean, there could be some consideration for establishing mandates.
Yeah. Well, I might have to think a little bit longer about that, but from my heart, I would say that roadworks warnings, emergency vehicle approaching warnings, and priority/preemption for all the types of traffic would be my top 3. And the last one, because it also allows to, if you do it in a dynamic way, you can also facilitate, for instance, freight and logistics. And now we have the new strategy in Europe to also become more competitive. So I think that would sort of tap into that competitiveness of Europe, while the other 2 use cases are more about reducing accidents, saving lives, and of course, key things that we want to accomplish.
No, thank you very much, Menno. Yeah, I really appreciate this opportunity of this conversation. Thank you very much. And I learned a lot about Monotch, about your approach from a commercial perspective, but also how you add value to society. And I think that's the most important aspect of any company. And I think it's important that we create a situation where these use cases can come to life all over Europe, but maybe also globally. And I wish you all success with your team to make this happen. And again, thank you very much for this conversation.
Well, thank you too, Herman. I really enjoyed the conversation. Yeah.
Thank you.